Olivia's heart gave a sudden jolt the moment she saw Nick step into the cafe, his eyes locking onto her as he walked with quiet determination straight toward her table. She had only just sat down, barely settled into her seat when she noticed him approaching. Olivia and her husband Brad had been neighbors with Nick and his wife Louise for nearly 4 years. Despite the slight age gap, Nick and Louise being in their early 40s while she and Brad were in their mid-30s, the two couples had grown unusually close. Over time, their connection had deepened beyond casual neighborhood chats. They traveled together, laughed over shared dinners, and supported each other like family, with or without their children. "This is unexpected," Olivia said with a hint of surprise in her voice, glancing over his shoulder. "Shouldn't you be at work right now?" Nick gave a faint, unreadable smile and lowered himself into the seat across from her. "I could ask you the same thing," he replied smoothly. "I took the afternoon off. Something personal I needed to handle." He paused for a moment, his gaze lingering on her. "Looks like you had the same idea." Olivia offered a non-committal nod. "Just needed a break after a hectic morning," she said, looking around the cafe. "I didn't know this was your kind of place." "It's not," Nick said, eyes unmoving. "I saw you walking in and figured I'd join you." The bluntness of his words made Olivia look away. Her fingers fidgeted with the edge of her coffee cup, a quiet tension beginning to stir in her chest. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice cautious, laced with growing concern. "Is Louise okay?" Nick's expression softened slightly. "Louise is fine," he assured her gently. "But I appreciate your concern. You and Brad have always been incredibly loyal friends, and that's part of why I needed to talk to you today." A chill passed through Olivia, and she hesitated. "Talk to me about what?" Nick's tone shifted, steady and serious. "Have you been intimate with him?" Color drained from Olivia's face. Her breath caught in her throat, and she struggled to respond. "What? I don't even know who you're talking about." "The man you keep watching," Nick said calmly, as though he were stating something obvious. "The one across the room. You know exactly who I mean." Her heart pounded. "No," she said too quickly. "Nothing like that has happened." She dropped her hands to her lap, a subtle move of defense. But to Nick, it only reinforced her discomfort. He regarded her for a long moment before placing a hand gently over hers. His touch was light, but his words held weight. "Listen to me," he said, his voice low. "You need to understand what's really happening, what you believe is going on, and more importantly, what he believes is happening." Olivia's breath caught again, and she nodded hesitantly. Her mind spun, trying to catch up. Nick leaned closer. "He's charming, isn't he? Probably younger than Brad. Or maybe more confident. Maybe he says the right things, makes you feel seen in a way that Brad doesn't. But Brad, he's the one who's always there. He listens when you cry, helps you breathe when life gets overwhelming, and puts you and your son first, even when it costs him." She blinked, her throat tightening with emotion. "I don't know how to respond to that." Nick didn't stop. "In the past 2 weeks, Olivia, you missed your son's birthday party and your 9th anniversary dinner. Why? Because this man needed your attention. He's pulled you in, slowly and quietly, and you didn't even realize it." Tears threatened at the corners of her eyes. "Nothing happened between us," she said weakly. "We're just friends." Nick's gaze didn't flinch. "The kind of friend you keep secret from your husband? The kind who knows more about your marriage than he should? Every time Brad gets suspicious, you tell yourself he's paranoid. But deep down, you know he's not." Her lips parted, but no words came. "How do you know all this?" she finally whispered. "I've been paying attention," Nick said evenly. "And when your son kissed you goodnight and said, 'I love you,' when Brad sat alone at that restaurant waiting for you on your anniversary, who were you thinking about?" Olivia's hands trembled. "It wasn't like that. His friend had just passed away. He needed someone." Nick raised an eyebrow. "And you think that timing was an accident? That he didn't know exactly what day it was?" She tried to speak but stopped, realizing the pattern he was showing her. Nick continued, unwavering. "Brad's birthday is in 3 weeks. Are you going to let it happen again?" Her voice was barely a breath. "I don't want to." "Then don't," Nick said simply. "Because when you told Brad that story about a sick friend, you didn't even try to make it believable. You didn't think it mattered. But it does. And if you keep walking this path, it'll break everything you have." A voice suddenly cut in from behind them. "Is this man bothering you?" Both turned. A tall, thin man with a thick beard stood nearby, Reed. Without missing a beat, Nick stood and extended his hand. "You must be Reed," he said with eerie calm. Reed hesitated before reaching out, only for Nick's grip to tighten unexpectedly. He leaned in, his voice cold and low. Listen carefully. If you try to make a scene, you'll regret it. And if you ever speak to my wife, or even mention her again, there will be consequences. Reed winced, clearly shaken as Nick released his hand. What the hell are you? Reed muttered, his confidence wavering. Nick didn't flinch. I'm the one who sees through you. He turned back to Olivia, who now sat in silence, shattered by the weight of everything that had been said. You still have a choice, Nick said gently. Go home. Talk to Brad. Be honest with him before this spirals. He deserves that. Tears slid down Olivia's cheeks. Thank you, she whispered. Nick gave her one last look, steady, quiet, and full of finality. Don't thank me, he said. Just do what's right.